Peace, family. Welcome to another episode of Underground Railroad Productions. This is your host, Rich. Introduce yourself to the people, young lady, because this is your first
Peace
time.
to everyone out there. I'm iKandake, but everyone calls me Candy.
And as y'all know, this Red Pillar, a regular on Black Magic.
Yeah.
Listen, so, Candy.
Yes.
Young lady, you're 26 years old?
Yes.
I need you to talk to the millennials out there.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get your opinion. I want to see where your mind is at about a lot of things going on, and so many things going on as far as with men, women, races, genders, politics, all over the place. Things are happening. I want to start out with something that I was thinking about in terms of social media. And in terms of women, I noticed that women have a different perspective when it comes to pregnancy that they had when I was young, when I was 19, when I was 20, when I was 21. And what I'm noticing is that after a woman gives birth, she's very, very, very concerned with her looks. She don't want to slip up. She don't want to have no, what do they call that when a woman
Pouch?
Like extra
pouch?
skin?
Yeah, extra skin,
Like
pouch. I think
stretch marks.
she doesn't want to have any of that. She wants to. They got a term for it. Snapbacks. Snatchback. Yeah.
Snapback.
Women are becoming very, very. They're into their looks a lot because.
More vain. Because women have always been vain, but you mean like more vain.
Right. What do you think about that? It seems as though that's real important to them after birth. Is that a bad thing?
I don't think that there's anything wrong with caring about how you look as a woman, because it's important to take pride in how you look. It's important to care about. I feel like if you look good, you feel good. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like it's in moderation. I think what's too much is women who get surgeries and they're getting injections and things like that. It's one thing to want to snap back, you're working out and things like that, but I feel like it gets too far when women feel like you don't want to breastfeed because you don't want your breasts to stretch out and you don't want these marks. And I feel like as a woman, that's what we're here for. We're here to procreate. We're here to keep life going. And the things that come along with that, the stretch marks and the breasts going this way and that way, your body changing, that's the beauty of it. It should be a celebration instead of being seen as a punishment.
What if a young lady walked up to you and said, "Candy, they got that bag though. They getting that bread."
They do, but at the end of the day,
That seems to rationalize any type of behavior.
I don't believe that money is everything. I don't think that money's everything. I don't think that there's enough money that you can have when people don't respect you. I'd rather make a decent living and people respect me when they see me and know how to conduct themselves when they see me, instead of, oh, you like this, I could treat you any old kind of way. It's like, no. They have no integrity. It doesn't matter if you have money. No one's marrying them. The people that married them, it's everything is just a show.
Well, the thing is, Candy, women that behave in that manner, dress like that, it seems as though they're getting entertainers, the ball players, the ballers.
It's crazy.
So if they got, if you in the jungle and you got the most fierce lion in the jungle with the most, the best fur, it seems as though the strippers and the girls that's getting the plastic surgery is getting those guys.
Yeah, but at the same time, the way I look at it is, what kind of woman would want to be with a man that only values me for how I look? Those relationships last for seconds. There are shows upon shows upon shows of, oh, I dated this one. I was with this one. So then it's like, does it matter how bad you are if nobody actually wants to build with you? So.
Definitely. Would you like to add on any of that, Red?
Man, there's a new industry that was formed when social media blew up and when reality TV blew up. There's called social currency, which is basically the currency that attention affords you, and it's a part of the beauty industry. You don't have to have talent anymore. You just have to have a bad body, right? You really don't even need a story.
You don't need to do anything but look good and sit there.
You just gotta look good and do the duck face.
Anything.
What's the face they do? What's the puck face? Give me the face. You know what I'm saying? So as long as you could do that face, you have a shot now at becoming part of this new industry. Black Chyna's a part of it. Kim Kardashian is a part of it. Amber Rose is a part of it. So now,
so many.
And in this time when, they're slut shaming you know, Kevin Hart for being, for practicing infidelity, my question to the public would be, well, goddamn it, I thought sluts were winning. I thought hoes were winning, and I thought that we are celebrating hoes in this society, and you're not supposed to slut shame. But these women that they're celebrating, they would be the woman who would sleep with the married man.
Very true.
They would be the woman, they have been women who took married men from their wives and made them bait. So I don't, you know, they're sending mixed signals to our children, not just our children, the sisters, the grown women, grandmothers are being influenced.
You have grown women who are obsessed with the Kardashians. It's the weirdest thing I see.
Grandmamas, okay?
You know what makes it even weirder to me? The fact that they're women who copy black women, and then black women copy them copying us. Now that's not all black women, but there's a huge chunk. There's no way these women have like millions upon millions of followers. You have black women who are copying women who copy us. These women have their butts done, their breasts done, their thighs done,
their lips done,
everything.
Collagen. Yeah, so.
And those are the people that we look at and say, this is how I wanna, this is who I wanna mirror. It's weird.
I mean, it happened with Marilyn Monroe. It happened with, you know, it's happened throughout the ages.
I agree. And it's weird that women still look up to Marilyn Monroe as well, because she's not someone I feel, there's so many black women that came before us that did so many great things, beautiful, radiant, gorgeous women.
Yes. And
you picked the woman who was sleeping with the president, the woman who was a side chick, the woman who hypersexualized herself. That's who you want to be.
When you look at this, you know, how Western society painted the Marilyn Monroe, you know, image of, and it was a spinoff of the pinups.
Right.
The pinup girls. I forgot the name that they gave them, but I believe that she was one of them. The women that the soldiers were having their lockers and whatnot.
Like a pinup.
You know what I mean? So Western society sells sexuality, but just like the Kardashians, her skill was the fact that she was a sexual deviant, you know what I mean? Like, she was promiscuous, and they were not selling her beauty, they were selling her sexuality, they were selling the fact that she was promiscuous.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And Pamela, that's what people celebrate.
Pamela Anderson, they pushed her, they were not selling her beauty, they were selling the fact that she was a celebrated harlot.
You know, I think the thing is, I noticed that there's like another thin line between hypersexualizing yourself and women who consider themselves sexually liberated. And because so many women tread that line, it's very hard to hold, sometimes it's difficult to hold women accountable for the way they carry themselves. To me, I think it's one thing to be sexually liberated, and I understand that our sexuality is our power, but I think the problem is the way that it's being used. It's being used to get material things. It's used for attention. It's not used for anything of substance. Everything that they do is things, everything has to be a stunt. Everything is just about getting attention. So.
No doubt.
What do you think? I mean, the younger generation, when they hear you talk like that, one of the first things they may say is that you're hating. So how do you respond to somebody who thinks anytime you criticize somebody that's doing something that you consider not good for the black race, that you are a hater? Red pill, you're a hater. You a Joe Budden hater, and she's a young hater.
Like the real, just grimy hater.
Right. How do you respond to that?
I don't care.
Yeah, it means nothing.
I don't really care what anybody's opinion is on how I look at certain things. I know if I'm gonna be raising children in this world and I see things that aren't looking right, then I'm gonna comment on it. You could say it's hate. I call it progression. What's the point of smiling and going along when ultimately these women are shaping the pop culture? They run the entire pop culture. So someone should be like, you know what? No, this isn't right. Someone needs to know, no, you're not crazy. If you don't agree with the way they do things, if you feel like they don't respect themselves, me either. I'm over here, I'm talking about it. It's not hate, it's calling a spade a spade.
Fact.
You're hypersexualizing yourself. You have no talent. You contribute nothing to society except looking good. And it's a lot of women that can do that.
Yeah. What does black girl magic mean to you?
Black girl magic. Black girl magic to me is a declaration and a celebration of black women finally accepting ourselves and saying no more will we have little black girls growing up not feeling beautiful. feel like even as a child, the beauty industry starts attacking us from young. You have us wanting the white Barbie doll. We want the good hair. You know, certain people, even, you know, colorism, certain things affect how you feel as a girl. So Black Girl Magic is like, no, everything. The freckles, the stretch marks, your afro, your locks, your baldy, however you feel, whatever makes you feel good about yourself and being a woman, that's Black Girl Magic.
Is it Black Girl Magic if a woman has on a wig or a weave? Is that still Black Girl Magic?
If she feels good about herself, it's another level of Black Girl Magic. If I just got my hair, because I'm a woman, I love my natural hair, but I like to wear protective styles or weaves or whatever, you know, we want to call it. I like to switch it up. And I don't think that one defines if you love yourself or not. If you feel good, you're confident, then that's Black Girl Magic, because you're going outside, you're walking confidently, and people are gonna feel that. So that confidence, whether it's a wig, a weave, your afro, your locks, still counts.
Well, if the brothers started wearing their hair like Young Jock and they had the Malcolm X comb, would you be cool with that, like you cool with the sisters, or would you say this is ridiculous?
I've been seeing lately, over the last year and a half, Black men have been getting very creative and expressive with their hair, and I'm here for it. I think Black men should be in a space whereas express yourself how you want, wear your hair how you want, dress how you want, because women have been able to do it and Black men have never had that space. And I think it's time. I love when I see Black men do stuff that's different and not the usual with their hair. I think that's dope.
In terms of, some people say there's a lack of female presence in these liberation movements, whether it be the the conscious community, whether it be if they attend lectures, they don't see that many sisters in the lectures, whether it be YouTube speakers, they don't see that many sisters speaking out on certain things on YouTube. Why do you think that there's a lack of female presence in these type of movements?
All right. One reason is because a lot of women are still stuck in religion. And I feel like a lot of men, I definitely feel like a lot of men came into a certain level of enlightenment before a lot of Black women did. A lot of women are emotionally attached to their religions. So now that it's becoming more widespread with women, the men have already been here building their platforms. So there are a few sisters, but that's mainly it. Ego. Men have a lot of ego. Sometimes they don't want to share that space with a woman. I definitely feel like some men don't believe they could learn from a woman, so they don't give them the opportunity to speak. I think it comes down to a lot of ego as well. You know, it's the man club and we just want to feel good about ourselves. It makes you question the purpose of the platform sometimes.
Yeah, can I add on? Good. I would, you know, I would beg to differ. From my experience, that is, you know.
Of course.
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Me and the brother Rich, we've experienced on multiple occasions, you know, we've invited people to be a part of the narrative or the conversation. We've attempted to open up platforms to our sisters to diversify, you know, the platforms and whatnot. And I'm not gonna say that we met a lot of resistance, but there was just this lackadaisical unwillingness to, you know, just be like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm there. What just name the day, the time.
Yes, because you have to worry about what someone's intention is first before you are associated with anything. Before you're associated with anything, you always wonder what's their intent. How am I gonna look if I'm associated with this? So sometimes you need to distance yourself.
You gotta
so you
weigh
can get
certain
the full
things out.
scope of the situation
Understandable.
before involving yourself.
And with the Black woman being the most educated amongst our race, according to statistics, I would always sit back and say to myself, well, does that education not afford these Black women the ability to have a different perspective about where not only they stand in society, but their children, their sons and daughters, and also the men that they claim to love? So why are they not being propelled to become more active in these movements, or become more outspoken against systematic racism, you know, all kind of things. I mean, it's a laundry list of attacks that are taking place, not only on not just police brutality. There's malpractice taking place in the medical industry, directed specifically against your womb. You know what I mean? Cancer.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm just saying, there's cancer. There's hysterectomies where they're cutting the womb out, and it's not, and they need that. The cause of these fibroids are not being properly diagnosed. A lot of things that are taking place, and I'm like, damn, we should have more voices on the front line from our sisters echoing these.
I definitely think there's a lot. There are absolutely. I follow a lot of women who do that.
Yeah.
It's just I feel that it hasn't caught on yet to the level that it needs to, in order for it to be more impactful, but I definitely feel that there's significantly way more women stepping up and speaking about what's going on. When I was a member of Black Lives Matter Greater New York for a moment,
yes,
I noticed when I went to these rallies and these marches, or whenever I would go to anything that has to do with fixing the community, it's significantly more black women than there are black men, if men at all.
I do agree.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that there's like a bubbling of a new underground conscious community, and that's by way of these women who might even step out of professional roles and be vocal on, hot button topics that are dear to them, but we just don't know about it as of yet.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I know so many sisters who have blogs, who have events, who have sister circles, healing circles, things like that, who have YouTube pages, who have organizations. So they're out there, but it's still catching up. But I definitely feel like this Black Girl Magic movement has propelled it forward even more. So there's women, if they're able to, if BT can have a full event of just celebrating black women, it's happening. It just needs to keep going. It just has to keep going.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
And I hope it's not, too
when you say that,
controversial. No, what are some of their sentiments towards, the brothers who are stepping up, or the brothers who have decided to, who are teaching, or the brothers who are frontlining and doing some of the work? Like, I don't want you to speak for every single sister.
Well, I can't speak for every sister because we all have different perspectives.
Yes.
The ones that we can tell who are genuine, it's a lot of love for them. There are certain brothers in the community, no matter what they do, we're going to ride for them and support them because they do the work, we see it. There are some people who are not about what they seem to be about. A lot of the things that seem to make sense is pseudo nonsense. Sometimes people just talk because it makes women like, oh, you have something to say, I'm so attracted to you now. So those brothers, we don't really pay much attention to, but there are brothers we definitely like, yo, I love him, I support him. He's doing a lot for the community. I have a lot of respect for him. Definitely.
Okay.
Let me ask you, do you, Red brought up earlier how statistically black women are more educated than black men in terms of graduating, and also in terms of income, their income is high at this point, right?
Right.
Like, right.
Yeah.
Do you respect being in a relationship? Would you respect being with a brother who makes less than you? Let's say you make 60 and he makes 30. Would you still treat him like the king? Be honest. Would you treat him like the king of the house?
Yes.
Okay.
I have dated men that I made more than. I don't think that has to do with, if you're a man, you're a man. If you provide, you provide. I'm not asking how much you provide or how much of your check where, you know what I mean? If you're a provider, you're a provider. It doesn't matter how much you make. If the bill is getting paid, the bill is getting paid. I'm not like, oh, I make a certain amount.
Cali voice.
But if you're mentally doing the things you're supposed to, if you're physically doing the things, if you're emotionally there, and you're being a man, then how much you make. It matters when it comes to building our household, but it doesn't matter. It's not so much on how much I'll respect you as a man.
Question.
Do you?
Are you the kind of sister who, he said you making 60, the brother's making 90. Are you the kind of
30?
Sister,
He's making 30.
Oh yeah, I mean,
she's double. Yeah,
he's making 30. Are you the kind of sister that says we're making 90?
Yes.
And we're making 90 with the mind state that we're gonna make 180 next year? So
absolutely, that's what a relationship is
exactly.
about.
So the foundation of the relationship, regardless of how you meet or how it may start out, is ultimately to multiply.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course, if we're building together, however much you have, that's one big pot. It just becomes one big pot. You mix it up, and then what needs to get taken care of and when. And then normally that's when submission comes into place. Who can be trusted and who has the right knowledge on certain things to handle certain things.
Okay. No doubt.
Do you, in terms of saying a woman is supposed to submit to a man, is that a sexist thing to say? That my woman should submit to me? Some women have a problem with that.
I think that there's a lot of definitions to submission. I think just thinking a woman should obey you and do what you say without question, I think it's sexist. I think it's ridiculous and unrealistic with a black woman. With a black woman, it's unrealistic. But I don't think there's anything wrong with a man expecting, if I know what's best in this situation, but I feel like that goes with men and women. I don't think it's only men. I believe if you know what's best for this situation, then I should be able to let down my guard, give you the reins and say, babe, you handle that. I'ma ride with you, you got this. And when it's something I know about, babe, when it comes to certain things, when it comes to cooking the food and certain things, I know how to chef it up into little things like, babe, you know how to do this. Babe, you're good with finances, you take care of this. It's not a sexist thing, it's common sense. You should let the person who knows what's best for certain situations have control over it. And then you can have an opportunity to also learn. It shouldn't be you giving up control. You're having an opportunity to sit back and learn from a person who cares enough to make sure that we're both good.
Indeed. Indeed. Can you share with the family from your perspective as a millennial and, you know, a sister who I'm sure has conversations, you have your sisterhood circles and whatnot, what are some of the biggest, you know, obstacles that the relationships are facing these days that we're not seeing a lot of relationships, the longevity in a lot of relationships last? We're not seeing a lot of, you know, I know a gang of single people. I know a ton of single people.
Yeah.
So what in your humble opinion is some of the obstacles that are getting in the way of this divine union taking place?
Social media, broken homes, not having the proper example of what a healthy relationship looks like, because then you have people who are functioning and don't really know what love is, how to love someone. You've only seen this person come and go. So I think those are the two main things. Not having the proper foundation at home and social media.
What aspect of social media, if you want to elaborate?
I feel like every aspect of social media. You have girls who show you have women who will willingly hypersexualize themselves.
Yeah.
Whereas before we used to be a little bit more modest about it, make you work a little harder. I mean, granted, there are still sisters that make you work a little harder, but you have so many women that hypersexualize themselves that even I see men hypersexualize themselves. It's hard to say, okay, I'm gonna focus on this person when as soon as you open an app, all you see is temptation. And there are so many people who don't respect what it means to be in a relationship, to love someone and build with someone. There are so many people who don't respect that, so they're willing to break it up. They're willing to participate.
Okay.
Do you ever feel intimidated by the women that are hypersexualized and feel like you have to compete with them to get a man, so you may have to show a little more cleavage, or you may have to wear a little more makeup, or, you know, just do what you got to do?
I have felt that way. I definitely went through, I think every woman goes through that phase, but I feel like that's part of learning to love yourself. In that journey of learning to love yourself, you're going to do a lot of things that you feel will make you more appealing to others until you take a step back, reevaluate yourself. How do you want to look to the world? How do you want people to see you? And then that changes. But I definitely think that, yeah.
Have you ever read, seen what's going on in the internet? Got your woman at home or a sister next to you and felt tempted to you know, because of all the beauty you see on Instagram? Does that tempt you, or have you gone through that, Red?
Has it tempted me to show a little bit of nipple? What?
Come on, nah, bro.
Did I get on there and start? What are you talking about?
You know, it might tempt you to, you know, do a Kevin Hart.
Oh, you mean have I ever been in a relationship and based off of my
social
timeline,
media,
my feed,
and you like,
the hypersexualization is taking place,
and you
I
ready to
wanna
risk it all.
Give it all up.
You ready to risk it all, brother?
I've been tempted. I can't. I gotta keep it a buck. Like I know the power and the draw of the timeline scroll and whatnot. You know, looking at your whiz and being like, damn. You know what I mean? Like, you know. But I never really went there. I didn't go there. But I'm not gonna lie and say that the temptation has not presented itself. Of course it has. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of course it has. I've had to unfollow a gang of people based off of the fact that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My whiz is like, yo, you know, what the hell is this about? So it's out there, you know, it's definitely out there. Like Candy was saying, you know, that's why the home has to be solid. You know what I'm talking about? The phone has to get put down. You know what I mean? Like there has to be a separation of that world in the real world, because if you try to compete with the two, you're going to bump heads. It's going to be a clash somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
These
like the
people on social
virtual
media are kinda
and the real
awkward
world.
in real life.
You
Some
feel
people
me?
in real life are awkward. On social media, they look one way, and in real life, they
Yeah,
are
so here you go.
awkward,
You
so
might throw
weird.
it all away
Yeah, it's
for
so different.
for you know
A
virtual
fantasy.
a fantasy,
Acts.
the
You know,
matrix,
acts you
the
can use to make
illusion.
yourself look good.
You know what I
It is
mean?
so not real.
And you had a real one in the crib, and you throw it all away
Right.
for something that and you was getting catfished the whole time. How about that? You know, so yeah, man.
Brothers feel as though if you read the forums in the comments, a lot of brothers complain about black women siding with white supremacy because of accepting welfare, or, you know, because of their positions on the job. They have a higher position than the brother on the job. I want to ask you, in terms of how we respond to society or to racism we experience in society, it seems as though when you have somebody to take care of all the time, you're naturally going to think different versus someone who, a father may be around twice a week, 3 times a week, once a month. So a black woman may feel, I got to take care of these kids. So I can't sit and read all these books you read. I can't sit and complain like you. I got to take care of these kids. Do you think because they're forced to take care of children way more than the black man is forced to take care of children and be around them and nurture them and breastfeed and all the other stuff, cook for them, that they naturally are going to view white supremacy through a different lens?
Certain aspects, absolutely. Because if it comes down to survival and you're a mother, you're gonna do what you need to do to provide for your child.
Facts.
Right.
And if that means you gotta get a side eye and you gotta sit in the office for people to talk down to you like you're garbage just for you to get a couple $100 and your son can eat or your daughter can eat, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how black men look at us, because the important thing is, did your child eat? Is your child taken care of? Yes, they are. Are they walking around acting crazy? Now, the children who are growing up like how these mumble rappers and mentally they're just seeing different things in their experience, that's one thing. But if you gotta provide for your child, provide for your child. You can't be bitter about a black woman taking care of their child forever. Because you can't complain about the checks and then complain about paying child support. If you're not gonna financially be there, if you're not gonna physically and emotionally be there to support me raise this child, somebody has to. Because America doesn't pay single parents enough. We don't make enough to just, you know what I mean? There's a lot of steps that you have to take in order to be able to support a child by yourself. And a lot of women in these inner communities, it's not as easy as it looks. So you have to do what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Add on to that, Rick?
I definitely understand what it is that you're saying. You know, babies gotta eat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's just weird. You have so many men that sit in the comment section and will bash black women for doing certain things. And it's like, yo, you gotta look at the intent. Where is she coming from?
Indeed.
The intent was never, it's almost like, I hear so many men with the perspective, we kicked y'all out the house. It was like, government, come on in. Yo, if you understand how systematic racism, y'all were taken from us. We didn't kick you out, you were taken from us. There's a million different fake charges that black men who are rotting in prison still have. You were taken from the home, and we had no choice but to find other means to provide.
No doubt. I would say when you weigh it out, the lesser of two evils, you know, I wouldn't want the woman that I love or the mother of my children or some of my friends' mother, whatever it may be, I wouldn't want them to sell their bodies. I wouldn't want them to prostitute themselves. I wouldn't want them to sell drugs and destroy their own people.
Right.
So you have to sometimes weigh it out, like the lesser of two evils. Okay, you're gonna go work for Mr. Charlie at Chase Bank, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you wearing a tight dress from H&M, showing a little bit of nipples. But hey, you know what I mean? We can't necessarily beat up on our sisters for being for finding, you know, 9-to-5s and whatnot, or for entering the workforce and they didn't come and work for your black corporation. Oh, my bad. We don't have many black corporations.
Right.
So it's like, that's not the approach to take. We're not supposed to throw our women under the bus. As black men, ultimately, the best way to alleviate that issue or that problem would be to come together and form legitimate corporations where we could provide not the same thing that's being provided to them, that 10 or 12 an hour. We need to bring that 14 or 15 to the table and help build up our people the same way. So, you know,
interesting
gotta compete.
It's interesting that men get so frustrated about black women in the workforce. And it's like, we deal with so much crap. Oh my goodness, I work in a place, I'm the only black woman there. We still have our own experiences and struggles. It's like, just because we make a little more, we might get a little further, but we never forget. We always are constantly remembered in a professional environment that we're a black woman.
Of course, they're always gonna remind you.
If we do a little of this, it's like, they can't stop making it known. Like, so I don't want it's weird when I hear black men get so frustrated about black women and how we are. I understand the struggle and I understand that it's frustrating to be on the receiving end of that. But just know that it doesn't make it any easier because we get a little further or they give us a title to make us feel a little better. Because we still don't have that much power because we don't own a business. They could still say you're fired.
Facts.
The same way they could say it to you.
Facts.
Do you feel offended when you hear a lot of brothers complain about the American black woman and say you're too aggressive, and because of that, they have to go to Brazil, they have to go to the islands, they got to go wherever, they got to go anywhere but here because the American black woman almost acts like a man?
I understand, because sometimes I feel like in the conscious community, we have like this fake idea that all black women meditate with crystals, and it's like, y'all know we the minorities of black women. We're the minorities of black women. There are a lot of vindictive, cold women who don't fully love themselves. There are a lot of hurt black women hurting people in our community. So I understand, but I would love if black men took a second and just the way I learned how to understand black men better when I stopped trying to judge him and change him and control him, and I stop and I understand, why are you the way that you are? Why do you respond to certain things the way that you do? And once I understood that, then I know how to interact with you. A lot of men don't want to take the time to understand why a woman is the way that she is. You want me to accept your trauma, but you're not willing to deal with mine, and it's not realistic. You want me to be mommy. You want me to step up and be your mother. You want all this affection. You want all this mental and emotional support and spiritual support. You have to give the same thing back. Yeah, we a little feisty, but we're worth it. We're feisty, and we're everything that we are. We're defense mechanisms in order for us to survive in this society. It's messed up and it's unfortunate that black men receive it sometimes, but it was never intended for black men. It was intended for us to have thick enough skin to survive living in this world that is constantly telling us not to love ourselves. It's a lot to take in. I feel that also just some people have a different black experience than others.
And that's also true.
I mean, my family lives upstate, hours was outside of the city. My sister's the only black girl in the school. Granted, there's one black guy, there's one black kid, but some people have a different black experience, and I feel like sometimes that gets left out of the conversation as well. I don't support it. I love some black love. I love me some black men, but I do understand that everyone has a different experience. But my thing was the point that you made.
My question to you is, I don't mean to cut your wisdom, because he brought up the conscious sister. He brought up the natural sister. He brought up the sister who was studying her history. He brought up the sister who was studying self, who was supposed to be dealing with non-ether and all of these other things. He's talking to the sister who, whether she's in spirituality, comedic studies, anything dealing with what we teach, red, black, and green, RBG, Garvey, it specifically said it's about race first. It's race appropriating. So for the people who don't have the black experience, I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about when I go to BAM, Dance Africa. I'm talking about when I go to the International Arts Festival in Brooklyn at Commodore Park. I'm talking about, well, not really Afro-punk. That's a whole nother conversation. But I'm talking about cultural experiences, cultural festivals, and how the hell, like what part, I don't get it. Like, when did y'all even have time to talk? When? Like, what the hell did he say to you?
I see with men and women, and I don't care for it. It doesn't make me feel good, but I understand that there's levels to why people choose to date outside their race. I may not agree with it, but I do understand.
People would say in the chat room, this is a post-racial world. Red, you need to grow up.
No, that's
you need to modernize your thoughts, because we live in a new world where the melting pot, you know what I mean? And the browning of America is taking place everywhere, and you guys are just stuck in your ways and whatnot.
I think people confuse society loving black culture with loving us, and it's so weird when people get that line blurred. It's like they don't love you, they don't support you. They love and support what they can take from you.
And that, with that being said, I want to ask you, and I hope that I'm not getting too personal. I don't want to get into, I don't want to step into that sacred space, but I'm sure, I'm willing to put bread on the line that European men have fetished over you. I'm sure that they've said certain things to you that you could share with the people about how far, what are some of the things that they may say?
Oh my God, especially being dark-skinned black women.
Yes.
We get fetishized something crazy. Oh my goodness. White men, I have had white men say some of the most raunchy and nasty sexual things to me because they see us as something that they can conquer. I don't think it's more so of like an attraction. I think it's more so of like, I just want to be able to say that I had you. I think it's an obsession.
That fetishizing.
Yeah.
I gotta come.
Like, yeah, white men definitely say a lot of weird stuff, but I don't, because of the messenger, I don't really receive the message. It's different to hear one person, like a white man, be like, oh, I love your skin. It's kind of like, of course you do. When a black man be like, they love your skin, it's like, oh, yeah. You know what I mean? So it's definitely different. White men, but white men, Spanish, like Latino, Asian, we get it from a lot of men, but it's interesting because when their women are around, they act like they don't see us. It's the most interesting.
Wow.
It's so interesting because I will see the same guy who said, walk on my back in your heels and I'll give you a stack. Like in Starbucks looking down with his girlfriend. I'm just like, all right.
Like that plantation life.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I experienced that a lot because of my skin tone. It's very weird. It's very unsettling.
Does it make you uncomfortable?
It does make me uncomfortable. It absolutely makes me uncomfortable because I know I'm not being looked at for the woman that I am. I'm being looked at as something to take down, to conquer, to have to be able to say around your little college buddies like, yeah, I had a black girl. And I'm not with it. I'm not with it.
So moving on. As a 26-year-old female living in New York City, you're seeing everything going on in your generation, the previous generation, the generation before that, your great-grandmother. The most recent incident with Kevin Hart. It appears as though it's impossible for a man to be faithful to one woman. You're young. Have you given up on thinking that a man is going to be faithful to you and only you for the rest of his life, or you're not buying into all the stories you heard from Beyonce or from Kevin Hart or from every other woman on television who says, I got cheated on by my man?
I'm never going to give up on the idea that there are faithful, good black men out there. I think that I feel like there are a majority of black men that ruin it for the bunch, but people are people. People are going to be tempted. Some things you can get past. I don't think that it's not even a generational thing. All women get cheated on. It happens. But I don't feel that there aren't men who know how to be disciplined. But a man is going to be disciplined to who he feels is worth being disciplined to.
Facts.
You can't make a man do anything. You can't be good enough in bed. You can't cook enough, clean enough. You can do all those things to support him, but until a man feels that he needs to be disciplined and act right, he's not going to act right.
So, do you think that the society that we live in, where sexual, what did they call that we were talking about that earlier?
Deviancy?
No, not sexual deviancy, the sexual revolution movement.
Right, okay.
Sexual what?
Liberation?
Sexual liberation, where hoes are winning, right? No, I'm just saying, where it's men are and women are systematically, right, being taught to not be responsible or to not have, control over your lower self. It seems as if the more songs that we listen to, the more celebrities that are getting, Christian with 1 million followers and whatnot. It's almost the more strippers we follow and all of these other things, the more conversations that we listen to on Instagram Live. It seems as if more promoting is being done of a loose way of living.
It absolutely is.
So it's almost
fast
like
way
a
to
catch.
dying. It's a fast way of dying.
Facts.
When you have rappers that are getting millions off of saying I killed this person, and these young rappers, these 18, 17-year-olds, they're talking about some rough, aggressive stuff. It's like, take out the mumble. Are you listening to their lyrics?
Facts.
It's a whole different ballgame.
It is.
Do you think in order for somebody to be happy in this world, they have to find a significant other? Or do you think that, because people always talk about the ratio of, more women than men, and you have women out here, we got the rise of the side chicks. I think they got the real side chicks of Charlotte or something like that.
Yo, I heard something like that of Hollywood or something like that.
What's your take on that? Side chicks being popularized.
I think it's disturbing. I think it's disturbing that women have gotten to the point where we don't love ourselves enough to the point where we'll take whatever we can get. I think it's sad. Now see, it's one thing when you agree to be a side chick. I feel like you don't love yourself. I feel like you don't respect yourself. I feel like someone forgot to tell you something while you were growing up and maturing into a woman. Now, if you're a grown woman and you're just doing what you do and you're not destroying anyone's life or disrespecting another woman in the process, then that's separate. But these side chicks, it's sad. It's very sad that women don't feel like you're so battered and beat down by men to the point where you don't even have faith that there are good ones out there, so you'll take what you can get. And that's still a piece of a man who, if you need him, you need a black man who, at the drop of a dime, he's gonna come to where you're at. If they're static, he's coming, it's nothing. When you're a side chick, you don't really have those rights.
Like reassurances.
You know what I mean? It's just you saying, I'll take whatever kind of attention and affection I can get. And it's really you filling a void of, you really don't mess with yourself as heavy as you act like you do.
Do you think, in terms of polygamy, when a brother's says he got a second or third wife, do you think that's just a glorified name for a side chick, a second wife? Because ultimately he doesn't treat the second and third wife like he treats the first wife, so they're just, I think side chicks with a different name?
No, I think that there are different type of relationship structures, and I believe that there are some men that know how to properly build a foundation with a woman, discuss with that woman, are we at a place in our relationship where as we'd like to bring another person on? If they do come on, how can they contribute? Those relationships, I believe, are successful. that whole calling women wife and things like that is different, because when you talk about polygyny, you're talking about a conversation that's had with the two people in the relationship, whereas we're both agreeing that this is something beneficial for both of us, for our empire, and for the community that we're creating.
Indeed, indeed. You want to add anything on to that, Red? I see you smiling over this.
Nah, I agree. You know, I agree. You dig? It's cool.
Okay. So yeah, that's about an hour and some change, man. I don't want to keep y'all too long out here. I know you got your son out here,
man,
Red.
Starving. I gotta take.
Yeah, I know. Candy, why don't you leave the people your contact info? I know you got a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I know you got a business going on. Let the people know.
Okay, so my Instagram is iKandake, so it's IKANDAKE, iKandake. On YouTube, it's iKandake TV. And then you can also check out my organization's website, which is themelaninproject.com.
Red, leave your
Yeah, the Know the Ledge app. Download that app. Look forward to the return of Know the Ledge Radio coming very soon.
Nice.
KTL
It's
coming
been a
back.
second.
It's been a big,
been a second.
yeah, been a big second. All right, we took a hiatus, but we coming back. We'll be in Durham, North Carolina, the end of September with Sabir Bay, Blue Pill, Red Pill. Go on my Instagram, EL_Filthmore, to check out more information on that. And we got other dates as well, but we'll stick with that for right now. Love and light to the family.
Yes, peace.
All right. And if I offended anybody,
You don't care. That's that Joe Budden. You see? He's like, if I did, you didn't say sorry. You was just like,
yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Peace, family. This brother Rich from UGR, urging all my viewers and subscribers to help support the channel by donating just $1 to the UGR PayPal account. We appreciate the viewership and support, and we understand the power of $1. If you benefit in any way, shape, or form, we ask that you donate $1, whether it be monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or yearly, so that we can build our brand to compete with the NBCs, the MTVs, and the Foxes of the world. I figure since Kanye could ask Mark Zuckerberg for $1 billion, I could ask my subscribers to donate $1 so I could make the best possible content possible. The main objective of this channel is to inspire you to become the greatest version of yourself. So hopefully throughout the years of you watching this program, you have been inspired to become the greatest version of yourself. If you would like to donate, you could go to www.paypal.com and send a donation to richandmerit7@yahoo.com. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your program.